Yeah, I would say just because I have a very addictive personality, so it's really, I have a tendency to become addicted to everything. So what I found though is that whenever I stopped doing that thing, whether it was drinking or something else, or it could be, my addiction to chocolate, I mean, whatever it may be, when I took the attention away from that, you realize like you have a lot of energy actually. And I find this to be the case with it's not just people who have addictions. I mean, we have a lot of energy to begin with, right? And sometimes we take that energy and we treat it very passively, and maybe somebody might watch TV for 4 hours in a row, or something like that. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I've had many days like that. But I realized like when I took that same energy and I applied it to something else, I got a lot done. So let's just speak about like productivity, for example. Um, when I took that energy away from, yeah, the addiction, for example, I channeled it into something else. I had to, because if I didn't, I was going to go back to feeding into, it's going to take my energy and probably feed it back into the monster, into the beast, right? So, yeah, I felt like I had to get busy. I had to have something to strive for. I had to have goals. I had to have a mission, right? And that's probably what, see, for the most part, kept me going. That's how I was able to, travel around the world. So I was able to, live in Japan and build a thriving lifestyle. And, I think the library of books that I've written, I mean, they wouldn't have happened if I hadn't stopped, putting all my energy into that other stuff. Right. So I realized like it was either one or the other. I mean, there was a time like in different example, there was a time when I used to love video games, still do, but I mean, I'd sit in my room for hours just playing, doing PlayStation and playing Call of Duty. And I mean, that was great, but I realized at the time, like, the time that I was putting into that, if I put it into my writing, like what could happen, right? So I stopped playing the games, sold my PlayStation, and that time that I normally would have spent doing that, maybe it was like 2 hours a day, I put it into the book business. And then, a decade and a half later, yeah, I mean, I've got I think it's a thriving business. We haven't decided yet. It's still in motion, but it's certainly a lot further along than it would have been if I hadn't made those decisions. So I think that's maybe the point there is that if you want to achieve something in your life, you will need time and you'll need resources, or you'll need to be resourceful, right? You may not have any resources, but again, I think the biggest resource that a lot of people, myself included, like will waste is time. I mean, I started several little businesses when I didn't have any money at all, but I had the resourcefulness to start them, right? And so that's the thing is like there's like whatever it is that you want to do, there's a way to start this thing. And I think that's where everything has to begin is you have to start whatever it is that you want to do.